As we look at the ego's ability to perceive the activity of the self in its life course, so for example, from what it feels inside, from what it's attracted to outside, the archetypes, et cetera, and so forth, there are a couple of things that are pretty difficult with regard to all of that. They're hazards, and this is one of the main foci of Jungian analysis is analyzing those. So, for example, if the ego does not differentiate itself from the self, if it stays lost in the self, we really have what's called neurosis. That's an old term, old psychoanalytic term, not used much anymore, but very helpful. And Jung defined neurosis as when psychic energy has reached the end of its course and it gets blocked because there's no further it can go in that direction. And like a river that's suddenly blocked by a landslide, the water kind of builds up until it gets to a point where it can flow off into a different direction. And that's neurosis. Now, if we're never aware of the activity of the self in our lives, if we just kind of ignore it, don't see it, we run into a lot of roadblocks, a lot of difficulties. And my favorite one really that I help people with a lot is failure. If we don't realize that failure, given the fact that we have applied ourselves, been diligent, tried as hard as we could to do something, if we don't see failure as something that the self is essentially imposing on us to get us to change course in life, we get very neurotic. We begin to feel, I'm just a failure. I'm terrible. I can't do it. I don't succeed at anything. But if we begin to understand, oh, wait, no, this is something larger than myself, larger than my individual ego, that is trying to direct me in a new direction in life. And what's really happened is I haven't failed at all. I've gained everything I was meant to gain from doing this, and anything more I gain is not going to continue my individuation. It's not going to be good. I really need to go in a different direction now. And that's what the self is telling me. Drop this now and go in a different direction. If we don't realize that, we get very neurotic. So in other words, the ego is subsumed into the self.